Firstly, I want to say well done to Rachel Blackmore. Unbelievable. I just thought she is brilliant. And I was so excited watching the National. I know now it was a couple of weeks ago, but I was meant to say it last week, but I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. What a legend. I think a hero to all of us, and how amazing and much deserved. And I blubbed like a proper baby watching that. I just thought it was so emotional and just so brilliant, and just well done her, my hero. Anyway, we have got back from Burnham Market, and a lovely day today as well. So much nicer sunshine and temperature just becoming better. It was still, I don't know about everyone else, but I still felt the grass had come through, spring grass, still winter temperatures. The horses were fresh as well. So just riding today, the day after Burnham, and sunshine and temperature dropped, everything just seems to simmer, and the horses are very normal again rather than monsters. Or very energetic, and so it's all just everything simmering, and hopefully spring weather will be here. So Burnham was great on the whole, a mixed weekend really, and I just wish I probably had done my mental preparation one. I did a video last week, but Thomas said I waffled on far too much for half of it, but half of it was good, so I needed to try and do that again another time. But in some ways I wish I had have done it, because this weekend was a classic for, you know, ups and downs, preparing, mental preparation, dealing with things, all the rest of it. And I actually thought it was a really interesting weekend at Burnham. I had 8 horses there, and I ran 3 on the Saturday, an advanced horse and 2 intermediate horses. My advanced horse, Brookfield Quality, had a second in the advanced, and he jumped really well. I had a very good ride on him. The dressage warm-up was interesting. He's quite a quirky horse. He's a really nervous horse of other horses, other people, life. So a warm-up, very enclosed, and anyone at Burnham, you know, it gets really busy up there at times, and it was very dry, and the dust was flying about everywhere, and he can then head shake with dust, or, you know, snow or drizzle or something. And so all in all, I felt like my warm-up, he sort of ran around everywhere with me, with not really feeling like I resembled a lot of dressage, or I certainly wasn't getting the feeling that I wanted to go in the ring. But I trusted the fact that I know this horse likes space, so I just warmed up his muscles, basically, of just trying not to make a big deal about it, tried to find a quiet spot, which is, you know, really hard, but not go through the movements, not get too stressed about it, go over to the arena in enough time to just be able to get round there 2 or 3 times before, to just say, right now, breathe and trust your training. Trust the fact I ran through the test 2 days ago. He does know the tricks, he does know what he's doing. I've just got to get his brain and mind with me again to then just start breathing and know he's got some space and he can do it. Anyway, so he was great. We made a couple of little mistakes in his test, but he got a 29, and I was delighted in the circumstances that he was in. That was good. So he had a second in the advance, which was great. Diablo Joe was doing the OI, and he ran really well. He did a 20 dressage and did a really lovely test. I was pleased with the show jumping. Had the first show jump down, but jumped a lovely round and was clear cross country and won it quite far in the end. But very pleased with him. And I had a first time intermediate, Cooley Goodwood, that was 3rd, jumped to double clear in his first intermediate, and I thought it was a beefy enough track. It was exactly the same course as the 3-star, and for his first intermediate was great. You know, had a really good spin on him, and I think will come on a lot and feels like a lovely horse for the future. And the main thing, you know, they all had a spin at Burnham. I've been brought up around Norfolk for, I've done Burnham Market for many years, and it is one of my, you know, it's my home spot. So I love going back to Burnham. And, you know, it's firm enough, but I know, you know, in the spring there, it can be flat enough, and horses generally in the spring have always come out very well from it. And they did, you know, on Saturday night, they got home off the wagon, those ones that ran, and all came off the wagon bouncing, really good, trotted up very well Saturday and Sunday morning. So that was reassuring, with the ground having got firmer. You know, everywhere's firm at the minute. You know, we haven't had rain. Yes, they did all they could, spiked it, and it rode giving enough, I thought, in my opinion. And so I thought that the big boys would all have a run. Again, very personal opinions. And as I keep saying with all of these, you know, everyone has their own ideas, their own mindsets, and you've just got to crack on with what you believe in or what you think is right for you or your horse. But they came out of it well. So we were on with Sunday morning, 5 in the 4-star to get jumping. They'd all done all right tests. They all did their dressage on the Friday. There, all 5 of them came out, did a test. And again, there was always a little something in each test, really, that I thought could have probably been a little bit better. Dargun definitely was the one that I thought, yes, he did a clear round in his dressage test. I thought that he didn't miss a beat, and I was really pleased with how he was. But the others are just, you know, getting there, coming out, doing the 40 minutes, getting in is not quite the same as when you get to your 3-day at the top level, where you really can bring them out 2 or 3 times a day and really get into them mentally and be totally on the button. So I was pleased enough, but I wasn't thinking, boom, you know, I've just come out and done, you know, that was a clear round and that's exactly where we're at. So, you know, still there, I'm aware of little things that I want to be working on. And then, so I started the day, Vanir Kamira started me off, and she was very excited to be at Burnham. More excited than she should be, really. But she was in a white lather in the show jumping collecting ring, sort of darting about sideways, or she gets a bit nappy when she gets really hot. You know, she's not, I don't call her a one-day horse. You know, this is why these times are so frustrating, because it's all these little things of managing these top horses that I find really hard. You know, she's not a one-day horse. The overexcitement gets to her quite a lot. She's never one that I really run fast at a one day, because I'm always preparing to have her head in the right place for Badminton and Burghley. On this occasion, you know, at the minute with the world how it is, with the sport how it is, you know, do we get a big run at the end? You know, it's nice, the owner's there, she was competitive, she show jumped clear. You know, it was her day that she could have a run. She finds it very easy. I'd never looked at the watch once. I just thought, you know what, she can run. I'll just ride the horse rather than the clock. But she clearly doesn't waste a lot of time at the fences. She's very fast, and we are definitely, you know, a bit skimmy. We skim through everything pretty quick, and she lands and she's gone. She's put her head down, her ears back, and she grits her teeth and she's like, come on, we're going. I'm like, oh God, okay, we are. So you just hang on and steer around. And, you know, I think she was about 10 seconds inside the time or something, which is fairly crazy. But, you know, that's sort of her, that would be her sort of spring go, really, to be honest. She had a finished second in it, which is great. But she's just a Burghley and Badminton horse, and that's what I prepare her for. And it's she does not need to be running round one-day events like that every time, because I'd have no brain left of a horse at all. So she had a second, which is great for Trevor Dickens as well, and to have a weekend out and see her out and about is great. I had a first timer, Sportsfield Top Notch, that I'm actually going to talk about in my next video. I'm not going to go on about him now, because I was just going to do a voiceover of him of all 3 phases, because I'm very interested to watch it. I haven't watched my video back yet, but I'm interested to watch it, so I'm just going to share my thoughts of a younger horse coming up with you. And then we got on to the next section, which was great after day one. They were lying first, second and third after dressage, which a lot of people got very excited about. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yes, obviously it was to be lying so high up there, but I also knew the calibre of horse that I was sat on and what level they're at and the experience that they're at, that they're all very good and should be up there. And to be honest, you know, you don't want to sound a brat or a knob by saying, do you know what, they all could have been better, by, you know, in sounding arrogant or greedy or something. But I knew personally, you know, take the score away from it, I knew that there was places that a couple of them could have been better. So that was more of my focus than, oh, I got away with it and I was lying in the top few. For me, it's another day at the office and it's all about a personal achievement, and I knew that there were places that were better, could have been better, so that was more on my mind than just the position I was in. And then we've got a helicopter coming past now, so I don't know whether you'll hear me garbling on or not. Hopefully Thomas can edit some of this, so I'm not just sitting there pausing. Okay, then we got to the jumping. So we started with Dargun was first to go in this section, and he jumped a really cute show jumping round. He felt on fab form actually. He jumped great, and ended up being, you know, going into the lead cross country after everyone had show jumped, and so I gave him a spin, thinking, you know, this is the first time I've really felt at this level that I want to go competitively and see what he's all about. And he was absolutely fab. You know, he really jumped well, travelled well, and he did all the tricky questions like he was bang on. Never jinxed, really good on a line, and, you know, gave me a super ride. So I was delighted with that, and he came home quite comfortably, just waving to someone that was here for a lesson. He came home quite comfortably inside the time, and pulled up great, has come out of it really well. And, you know, so I was delighted for him. I've had him for a year now. I gave him quite a quiet year last year. I'm really pleased with how he feels physically and mentally. Obviously he's a very good horse. He's done great things with Emily and things in the past, but it's a new enough partnership for us, and I just felt that he really clicked in, and that was a super result and great for Jane Delmessier as well. So we were all excited there. Then a couple of things started to go a little bit wrong. Some of it a little bit embarrassing, but also it is life, it's horses, it is a day sport, and what it is about, and it's the ups and the downs. And you will see probably in the Horse and Hound all looks great and had a first and second and everything's marvellous, but you don't get to see, sometimes it's just not all as great as it paints itself out to be. And I think this is another side of, you know, the mentality of our game and our sport and our mindset that's really important with, you know, our competition lifestyle. Anyway, so Fonbherna Lancer was my next horse to jump, and I sometimes have the odd casual rail on him, and he's a great jumper, and it slightly annoys me sometimes that I don't jump a clear round on him because I feel that he should. So I've actually been spending quite a bit of, you know, attention to detail with him of how I can, you know, get him jumping the best that he can do. Anyway, he set off, and God, he felt brilliant. And I mean, he's a beautiful horse too. He's a really lovely horse. Loads of scope, loads of jump, and, you know, a good horse to work with. And he just set off around the show jumping. Like, he just felt fantastic and super careful, and made my job very easy. Like, I was just sitting there, just cantering round, and we really felt very together. And I thought, this is as good a round as I felt like I've done really at this level. Anyway, floating around, having a wonderful time, conscious that I always get time faults with him. His canter's quite big and he's a little bit slow in his step, so I always get a second or two over the time, and so I'm trying quite hard not to do that. Anyway, I've gone swimmingly well till fence 8 or something, jumped the oxer, massive, so careful. I'm like, keep moving around the turn, don't sit up and go to the hand too much like I did all the other ones, and don't waste any time. Anyway, float on round, keep floating. Think I've just got a big forward shot. Just tip up the neck and go in front of the movement and go for a long one, which, you know, looking back at it now, I'm just like, oh my goodness, how out of balance I went in front of the movement to go in front of him to say go long. And yeah, I was off it and he chipped in and we smacked the fence to oh my God. Which I'm sure everyone's laughing. Stops this phone right now. Rewind. Put that bit back again. Let's go and watch that again because that's funny. Yeah, funny looking back on it now. Oh God, I couldn't believe it. The poor sod. And he was jumping brilliantly and totally rider fault. Anyway, pick yourself back up. He busts a gut, obviously, as you'd probably hope, through the combination into the last. And, you know, I just give him big pats when I've finished. I sort of shake my head as if to say, I can't believe I just did that. But and gave the horse big pats to say, sorry, mate, do you know what? I'm sorry. And I came out, there were a few swear words and the owner was there, of which I can only apologise. You know, your horse was on amazing form. He felt fantastic and I'm so sorry, you know, just on the day that it's, you know, he's busting a gut to jump a clear round and feels amazing. And I made the error. Anyway, you've got to get on, you know, it's happened, it's done, we're human. All we can do is train hard, work hard, you know, try to be the best we can. And every now and then we make a cock up and something goes wrong. And that was mine, and gave the horse a pat, gave myself a kick up the bum and just thought, right, on to the next thing. You can dwell about it, not worry, you know, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Everyone's probably there, oh my God, did you see that? Do you know what? So what? I tried. We can only do our best. Get on with it. It went wrong. Move on. He was brilliant on the cross country. I had a fabulous ride on him. He was great out of the water, through the corner, which was a really tricky fence. Had one little jinx at the sundial, but was very good to go. You know, he jinxed and thought, oh, and went, which it caught quite a lot out at the same time. And the rest of the round, he was fantastic. Finished with a couple of time faults and ended up fifth. You know, could have had a podium finish if I didn't mess it up in the jumping. But as far as the horse goes, he was amazing, a beautiful horse, and, you know, a good result. And then totally, this is another thing, I totally then made a mistake with my brilliant horse, of my preparation for, you know, my mindset and my management, really, with my last horse, Brookfield Innocent, that if I had to put money on one horse that I had to go round and would be clear what one would I choose, he would be the one that I chose. I was annoyed that I'd had a show jump down on him, because he's a great horse, he's a great jumper. Again, I just was then a little bit flat of it. I was like, oh, what did I do wrong? And went into the cross country very complacent on a horse that is probably one of the best cross country horses I've ridden. And on his day, he's on rails. And if I had to choose any horse that I've ever ridden to jump through the eye of a needle and be on a line and just get a job done, he's it. He's sharp, he's intelligent, he's just, you know, can be absolutely brilliant. But I can also go back to, you know, he's a spooky, hardy, fresh, sharp, you know, little monkey at times. And it just went to show, you know, I just set off thinking, do I try, you know, do I not? You know, this horse could go around inside the time with his eyes shut. I don't even have to probably give him a nudge to say, go on, we're being competitive. He cruises in fourth gear without any effort at all. So I can set off round a track like that and I'm on the buckle end and I just sort of sit and point, and he's that sort of horse that I've had those rounds on. But in the beginning, when I started with him, or he's fresh at the beginning of a season, do you know what? Every blade of grass can be a different colour, and he jinxes, and he's so bloody quick when he can move left or right or anything, when I'm just not, you know, got him totally on song. Now, he came out, you know, he does his dressage on Friday, he has a day off Saturday, you know, or just a lunge at home or something, comes to the event, he's late to go in the afternoon, he gets on for the jumping, I've got, you know, 12 to go before me, he has a little work, gets jumping, jumps good, feels good, but gets up to the cross country, and it's just fresh enough. And it was just one of the first, it was a decent question, the water jump, and he'd gone pretty good, but he was sort of looking around everywhere, and I never just gave myself just a little bit of a kick up the butt to say, do you know what, just get this done. I just sat there like, if any horse is going to be clear, this horse is going to be fine. And I came through the water jump and got my 4 strides really nicely to the water. Both he and I are quite bad at turning. We only have to think turn, and we've turned early. And this was a fence that you really couldn't do it. I could have nearly got away with it if he wasn't spook and jinx at the barrels, and his eyes are out on stalks, like just looking everywhere. And so I made my turn, we jinxed at the barrels. The moment you come 1 metre off your line to this particular fence, you've absolutely had it. It is an impossible fence to jump on an inside line. You have to be close up to the barrels. So the moment I've turned in on an inside line, he's jinxed, he's just looked at them and jinxed totally to the inside. All happened so quickly. I am nowhere near the fence. And even after I'd passed it, I never even pulled up and thought, oh, you bugger. You know, like sometimes you can have a run out and think, you little sod, you could have jumped that. You know, or God, you've just run out. I was absolutely nowhere near it at all. It wasn't even fence. I ended up taking the flag because he was halfway past it and then pulled to be like, we're jumping this. And then I was just stood there and was like, can someone put the flag back up? Because I really wanted to ride the line that I did. So I went back into the water to come out, to get hold of him and just say, oi, mate, you know, come on, we're not flying about here now, we've got to get that done. Of which then the moment I've just got him up to the bridle, you know, he jumps it like he's not there and not spooking. So to me, it was a mindset and management thing. I let him get too fresh. My mindset was, do you know what, I'll just go round because you can go round inside the time, you know, so easily. I'd had my rail, which had put him out of top spot, which with a horse like him, I was sort of just thinking, you know, he could be at a top spot. And I just took the edge off myself totally and just totally stood there like he was on rails. And so to me, you know, a lot of people are sort of like, oh my God, you know, this is a nightmare. I don't think it is. I think this is the best kick up the arse I could have on a horse like this, that I know is probably one of the best horses that I've ever ridden. And I didn't ride the fence well enough. I didn't prepare myself or just be on my A game like you always need to be. I took things for granted. Horses aren't machines. And it just goes to show that they aren't. And the moment you think they are, you get a quick, sharp reminder about it. And I put this horse on a pedestal and give him a pat and just think, do you know what? He's just brilliant. And he is still brilliant. And I wouldn't swap him for any other horse in the world. But it did give me a kick up the backside that I've needed. And I'm also not afraid of failing. You know, for me, those fences were good fences and good fences to go on and be done. And I could have easily also with this horse pulled out and gone and done a long route and easily got 20 seconds in the time because he's a class animal. But it was a good fence to be ridden at and a good fence to learn from. And I'm not afraid in this situation when it is just Burnham Market. And you know, I would have known if I was any different or if I was in the lead or if that fence was at badminton or that fence was at a championship or anything like that, then I would have been, you know, a lot more switched on and the effort I would have been much more sharper. So I'm not afraid of making mistakes to learn from them sometimes. And I think this was one of the biggest learning thing that I've had so far with this horse and will probably hopefully stand me in better stead for the rest of the year, because now I'll know that, you know, I can't just sit there and expect everything to happen. It has to be done, even though you think before you get there it could be a dead cert. It's not, and it never is with horses. So As much as it's a ooh and an ah, I pulled him up after that. They were the questions on the course. I thought there's no point going any further. He can go back. I've learnt from my mistake. I know that, you know, I've just got to be on my A game and make things happen. And we can crack on for the next one. But not for a second do I think it's disappointing. And I've made some mistakes this weekend. And even though I've had some wins and I've had a good weekend the rest of it, these little things are the first thing I think about when I wake up this morning. The things that have gone wrong were just what I thought about. I've got to make sure that I get that right. Yes, it's great to win some classes, but it's also focusing on the things that you know could have been better and where I've messed up and I need to get better. But it's not dwelling on it, it's being aware of it and moving on for it to crack on to the next time. Anyway, so a bit of thrills and spills, a bit of excitement, a bit of surprises, but it's sport, it's life, and crack on. Get on with it. Till next time. Okay, see you then. Bye.